What does it take for a single painting to outlive its creator? I spent weeks studying from the ancient Japanese artist Hokusai, focusing on his most famous painting, the Great Wave of Kanagawa, in order to learn the history and techniques that turned this into one of the most famous paintings in human history. And in the process, I've uncovered some long forgotten techniques we rarely see in art in the modern day, and yet might be exactly what you need to stand out in today's social media age. So stick around because you won't be able to find this info elsewhere. The secret behind this artwork is that it's not actually a painting. The style of ukiyo-e, which directly translates to pictures of the floating world, first bloomed in 17th century Edo, Japan. It inspired many aspects of Studio Ghibli movies, such as Spirited Away, and ukiyo-e is perhaps the origin of the entire anime style as a whole, and it isn't what most people would expect it to be. It involved artisans carving a separate cherry wood block for every color zone, rolling ink on each block, and pressing handmade paper over them in perfect alignment. So basically, it's actually how our modern day printers stack cyan, magenta, yellow, and black, otherwise known as CMYK. So yep, ancient Japanese artists didn't actually make paintings, they made prints. And this massively different style of art production has many consequences, which you will see later in the video. But what made this style and the Great Wave so famous? One of the biggest things Hokusai did differently was using something called ma, or negative space. You know how nowadays we often cram our artworks with detail, making sure we fill every corner? Especially if you had that one type of art teacher in high school. Anyways, Hokusai did the complete opposite. He focused on leaving huge areas empty, a composition rule that lets him focus the viewer's attention. That's why, even though the Great Wave is busy in one spot, it doesn't feel cluttered, it actually feels harmonious. So how do we actually use ma in our own artworks? One of the simplest tricks is to follow the 70-30 rule, which means intentionally leaving about 70% of your canvas relatively empty and using the remaining 30% for your subject. It's a subtle way to guide the viewer's eye, but also creates a breathing room. It may sound counterintuitive, but this empty space will actually help you stand out amongst the crowded social media feed. But this is made more powerful by the fact that he also used clear, graphic shapes instead of relying on blending or complex shading. Each part of the artwork, waves, sky, and boat, is a defined shape with crisp edges. This simplicity came from the imitation of woodblock prints, but it actually makes the artwork way more readable. It's literally the opposite of the smooth gradients and realistic shading that we're used to seeing nowadays. This is why ukiyo-e reflects in Japan's anime style. To apply this to our own artworks, we can perform the paper cut method. Imagine your entire painting as if it were made out of colored paper cutouts. No shading, no blending, just bold, flat shapes are stacked together. That's essentially what ukiyo-e artists were doing. Try limiting yourself to as few shapes as possible while still making everything feel recognizable and expressive. Hokusai's unique style and approach, which was relatively groundbreaking at the time, meant when Japan opened up to global trade, these artworks absolutely fascinated the West. Even artists like Van Gogh and Monet. So it essentially sparked the first wave of weebs in Europe. except for scenic artworks, not for questionable animes. But those weren't the only techniques Hokusai used. An easy technique we can add to our own artworks, and one super important part of Hokusai's artwork that often goes unnoticed, is how he cleverly uses perspective. But here's the interesting thing, Hokusai actually combined two different types of perspective: traditional Japanese flat or laid perspective, and Western style one-point perspective, to create something uniquely eye-catching. If you look at traditional Japanese art during Hokusai's time, artists usually limited themselves to one type of perspective. They placed objects down in layers, stacking them to show distance, kind of like cardboard cutouts. You can see this clearly in old scrolls or artworks, where things in the foreground are simply placed lower, and background objects are placed higher. This was the prevalent technique that ancient Japanese artists would use for perspective. And it was actually quite interesting to learn this technique, because I've never thought of simply placing closer objects at the bottom of the artwork and placing further objects at the top. We rarely see this style nowadays. But this also provides a nice and simple visual appeal to the artworks, allowing the artwork to be read quite clearly from top to bottom. Meaning it's quite different from the artworks we see nowadays, which look like something out of the Matrix featuring 20 different vanishing points. So you can definitely give this style a try, which is what I'm going to do as well. So I decided to actually try painting in Hokusai's style to help demonstrate to you guys what the techniques look like in practice. And yeah, turns out it's not as easy as it looks. Though I've also included all the brushes I use for this on my website in the description below, so you can also do the same ancient Japanese art study. I started by stacking space the way ukiyo-e masters did. Foreground at the canvas bottom, middle ground in the center, and Fuji anchored at the top. No vanishing points, just clear levels. As you can see, I also used an aged paper overlay, which really helps with the effect. I included it for free with the brushes below. But importantly, every element, the trees, hills, mountain, was blocked in with a flat, textured brush. That mirrors woodblock printing, where each color lives on its own carved plank. I did allow myself to add some extra texture in though. In terms of coloring technique, I mostly just relied on the brushes that I used, but you can see that the colors I used were more on the faded side, since these artworks' inks would have faded over the centuries. It was very hard to get the composition and style right, but overall I think this was a very unique and fun exercise to branch out your art style, and I would highly recommend that you guys try it as well. Once again, brushes in the description. You can also join our Discord server there, which I've made specifically for artists who are interested in making money with your art. But I really hope you found this video interesting because I put a lot of effort into it. If you did, be sure to like and subscribe, but also share this with a friend who might find it interesting. Anyways, see you in the next video.